What is up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Another day, another drama, and today we are going to be talking about Jaclyn Hill and her new collab with Morphe that just got leaked the other day and has since been confirmed that yes, her collab is a palette with Morphe. So I was doing a little bit of research for my other video with Angelica Oles and T by Ali about their receipt drama, so I decided that I needed to do a little bit of research into that receipt to see if it was something that I could still find. And when I was doing some research looking for it, I stumbled across this. So I just want to start this video out by saying that this is all alleged. This is my opinion on what I have found out. I can't get sued because I don't got the money to deal with all that. So this is all alleged and my conspiracy and my opinion on what I have found. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So the other day, Jaclyn Hill took to Twitter to announce that there was a photo that was circling around Twitter of a palette that could possibly be hers. And the girl tweeted at Jaclyn Hill saying, "Hey, is this your new palette, or did I get ripped off? Or is this like fake, basically?" And Jaclyn came out and said that yes, it is actually her new collab with Morphe. And then she went on her Instagram and just said, it really sucks that somebody would leak this. And she was, a little bit hurt about it, which I could totally understand. It does suck that something like this gets leaked when you've worked so hard on it. Now, Jaclyn has said that she did work on this palette with Morphe for a little bit over 2 years. And then Jaclyn shared this photo on her Instagram story of her and Linda sitting with all of the swatches from the palette on her arm. And if you look at the date, it shows that the photo was taken on December 28th, 2018. So at that point in time, they have already decided on all the pigments, all the shades, all the whatever they needed, and they had the actual product in front of them to be able to swatch it. Sure, you're thinking, well, maybe they were just samples from the lab that they have their makeup produced. And that's what I thought at first too, until I found out the following information that we'll be getting into in just a moment. After Lipstick Gate happened, I remember Jaclyn Hill saying something along the lines of that she's had some other things in the works and she had to push them back so she could deal with all of the Lipstick Gate drama. So at that time, I didn't think anything of it and just thought, okay, well, maybe she is pushing back some of her own launches since she has her own brand now, and not that it would be a collab with another company. Well, fast forward to this palette, and that's where we get into all of the drama. As I was looking for information on the receipt for the other video that I did yesterday, I was searching for import records for Morphe to see if that other receipt could still be found. And when I was doing that, that's when I found this receipt. As you can see at the top of the receipt, this is dated for the 21st of November 2018. And you can see that underlined is 11210JH2 eyeshadow palette, which would stand for the Jaclyn Hill Part 2 palette that just got leaked. And then you can also see that it has come from Beautydom, which is their supplier for the last makeup palette that Jaclyn Hill did, as well as the Vault palette. I do want to give a huge shout out to whoever watermarked that receipt that I put on Twitter. It's funny that I literally just did a video yesterday about people stealing receipts from each other, and then I go and put this on Twitter and literally don't put a watermark on it. So thank you for whoever did that. And then I was able to find this receipt by Zaddy Doll that shows another import record that was also done on that palette. And this was dated April 25th of 2019. And as we zoom in closer, you can see that the identification number of the palette is the exact same thing as it was for the shipment that was done on the 21st of November, which means that this would be the exact same palette that was shipped previously in 2018. So that to me believes that this was supposed to be launched as possibly a spring release in 2019. And since we had that whole drama with Lipstick Gate and those hairy lipsticks that poor Jaclyn's never going to be able to live down, they decided that, hey, this is not a good idea to launch this palette right now. There's way too much drama going on right now with Jaclyn and those lipsticks. And if we put this palette out, there is no way that it's going to sell. It's going to fail, and we are going to lose a ton of money on it. So I believe, allegedly, my opinion, that Morphe was like, look, girl, like with all this drama going on with your lipsticks right now, we are going to have to push this back. There is no way that we can release this right now. Well, I'm sure you guys are like wondering, okay, so like what's the big deal? It's been sitting in the warehouse, like it's totally fine. Well, it's not a package that's air sealed. And yes, all makeup has an expiration date on it saying, hey, like don't use it after like 24 months after opening. But that doesn't always account for the amount of time that it's sitting on the shelf. Usually makeup won't sit in a warehouse for a whole year before it's sold, because then it won't perform as well as it should. Like it will be patchy, or it won't work right, it won't blend out. Like if you take an eyeshadow palette that you've had for way longer than what you should have and used it after the expiration date, I've seen plenty of videos of people online doing expired makeup looks, and they all say the same thing, like, okay, this isn't performing as well as it did when I first bought it. It's because it's expired. So, you know, if you really like the colors in this, make sure you get a new one, but definitely make sure you throw away your old expired makeup. It's the same thing like if you go in and get food from a grocery store. Like, would you pick up a box of cereal that's expired, or a bag of chips that's literally been sitting on the shelf for the past year? Like, it's not going to have the same taste and flavor as it would if it was relatively newer and fresh, opposed to already sitting there for a year just being exposed to the elements. Chemicals will eventually break down. Things can happen with packaging, and that can affect the quality of the makeup. So that's like the biggest issue is, will these perform, or are we going to have another like vault scandal that we had in the past with those shadows not performing correctly? So if they do release these, if this is correct that these palettes have been sitting in this warehouse for a year, I think that they're going to have the exact same issue that they had with the vault. They're going to then say, hey, like if you have an issue with it, take it back to the store that you bought it at, or ship it back. And we had pressing issues with the pigments. Like that's why, like the pigments didn't get pressed correctly. That's what they said about the vault package. There was an issue with the formula, and they managed to turn around and get new ones in 6 weeks, when it can take up to 6 weeks for products to get shipped into the company or into the country because of import times. So there's no way that you can turn around a product that fast, especially if there were formulation issues. Now, if there's pressing issues, yes, you could contact the company and say, oh my God, we need new ones of these made right now because they weren't pressed correctly. But it's still gonna take like up to 6 weeks to be able to get those back into the country so you can replace the ones that have issues. So I feel like, honestly, if these are expired ones, or I shouldn't say expired, if these are ones that have been sitting on the shelves for the past year, there's going to be issues, and they're gonna send them out and then just replace the ones that people have complaints with. On top of that, we all have had issues with understanding if Jaclyn is telling the truth about things. Like when she had her issues with Lipstick Gate, like she was not extremely transparent about the whole situation, and there were lots of people who were upset, and it took forever for people to get their refunds. And even to this day, people are still confused about what actually happened with the lipsticks. Even in Shane Dawson's latest video, it showed him and Jeffree Star talking about it, and Jeffree was like, I have never once ever seen anybody ever in a lab use fuzzy white gloves, ever. So it's like, okay, so she's still not telling the truth about what really happened. So it's just a giant mess. And then when the whole incident with the vault happened, she was pretty much very defensive about the situation, saying like, oh no, it was just a pressing issue, and we've only had like 0.01% of people return the palette, and you're just not using it correctly, like stuff like that. Just making up excuses instead of taking accountability for what actually happened. So I doubt that she's going to address any of it, but like it's gonna be a huge thing if this story blows up. So who knows what she's gonna actually say. But I mean, according to these import records, it appears to me, allegedly my opinion, that these palettes have actually been sitting in a warehouse for the past year waiting to be launched. But that is everything that I have for today's video, so I would love to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you think that these shipping records show that yes, these palettes have been sitting in the warehouse for the past year because they couldn't launch them because of Lipstick Gate? Do you think that I'm completely crazy, which always is a possibility? Like I said, this is just my opinion based off of what I have found. Do you think that if this is true, that Morphe and Jaclyn are actually going to address it? Or do you think that they're just going to sweep it under the rug? So let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you like this video, please make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. Also, if you're new to my channel, I'd greatly appreciate it if you could hit that big red subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit that bell icon and set all of your notifications to on so you'll be notified of every time I upload a new video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!